It's time for Cutting Edge Consciousness with Freeman Michaels and Barnett Bain. Thought-provoking discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
Hey, listen, we should transition because we have another friend who's hopping on here to join us.
Speaking of passion.
Dear friend of the show, full of passion, very inspired man. So bring him on.
The CEO and president of Hampton Roads Publishing and Hierophant Publishing. Publishers of everything from the Conversations with God book to Pearls of Wisdom, a collection of some quite wonderful stories with some quite wonderful authors in it. I'm not just saying, I'm just saying.
So and he anybody could
happens to be a friend of ours, both the CEO and one of the authors. So I think everybody should immediately rush out and buy a copy of Pearls of Wisdom.
Welcome to the show, Randy Davila.
Thanks, guys. Oh, it's such a pleasure to be back here with you guys.
You were missed.
Yes.
Yeah, where have you been all this time?
Well, I've been following you, though. I've been keeping up with you guys and the good work that you're doing. And, this latest show, just another example. And talk about passion and doing, finding what's true to your inner self and not needing the outside. Anytime I put my weight, anytime I put my goal in the outside, it's going to lead to suffering.
Yeah, that's a true statement. Well, listen, I'm excited about you being on today because what we want to talk about is empowering people to put their work out there in a way that's going to be effective. Because so many people, know about self-publishing, or maybe they just heard I can publish my own stuff. But there's quite a journey involved in doing this in the most effective and efficient way. And thankfully, there are some folks who can help guide the process. And Randy, you're one of them. So I'm really grateful you're here so we can talk about that a bit.
Yes, I'm excited because I'm going to be coming this summer very close to you all. I'll be in Newport Beach July 28th and 29th. That's the last weekend in July at the Newport Beach Marriott. And I'll be teaching a self-publishing and book marketing workshop all day Saturday and all day Sunday. And the focus of that, it's for people, it's for two groups. It's for people who want to share their message, who want to get their work into print, who want some guidance. Because, when you're a first-time author, when you've never done that, you look at this world of publishing and it's like, oh my gosh, where do I begin? And there's so many options, there's so many things. And, I know that you all have had this experience, because of the proliferation of self-publishing. There are so many books out there that we say in the business that they scream, I'm self-published.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is
you don't want to do that.
Yeah, that the author, and a lot of times, the real tragedy is a lot of times that those books have some very, very good information, but that the author didn't either get the education needed or didn't have anyone to help them understand that there are some very, very critical elements when it comes to development of your manuscript and focusing of your book, all the way up through, most importantly, book packaging, cover, title, all of those things. So that's day one. It's, from manuscript to book, the creation process. And day two is on, from press to success. Now you got to go out and sell your book. And so we're going to share our secrets. My colleague, Jan Johnson, the publisher of Red Wheel Wiser and Canary Press, will be joining me for this weekend. We're going to share everything we know about how to sell and market books. So
you're going to tell people how to get on Cutting Edge Consciousness?
That's right.
There you go. So this is even for people, day two is for people who have already self-published, in addition to who are about to self-publish, because, we're going to share, our companies have sold millions of books, and we're going to share everything we can with the attendees, because as you know, Barnett and Freeman, as you two know, one of the things I'm most passionate about is new and emerging voices in publishing.
Absolutely.
And what I love about self-publishing is that it's giving people an opportunity to get their message out there like never before.
Yeah.
And, that's wonderful. And we pick up a lot of self-published books. We absolutely do. Self-publishing, in fact, is becoming almost a way to test the waters.
Yeah, it's a minor leagues before you go pro.
To test the waters.
But guidance,
Exactly.
guidance is everything. It makes all the difference. Is having a seasoned mentor in your corner to clear some of the obstacles and to demystify some of the process. And Randy, you are one of the real tried and true pros at this.
And I want to tie something together. So, in some ways it would seem as if the prior segments don't fit with this segment, but they actually really do. It is passion and it is heartfelt.
Yeah.
And that, the kind of authors that are really going to be supported by you, Randy, are people who are really speaking from, again, this sort of personal imperative we were speaking of earlier, where this is not something they're doing, because I want to get rich, I'm going to write my bestseller. It's really people who have something they want to share.
Though people have gotten
true.
rich,
That's
and
true.
I think Neil Donald Walsh did
That's
quite
true.
well at Hampton
No,
Roads.
we're not. No, listen, this is
I
not.
think Eckhart Tolle is doing pretty good
You're
at Hampton
right.
Roads.
I'm just saying that this is not about eliminating that possibility, but it's about leading with what we have
Leading
to
with
give.
it's the art
And
of heart. The
Yes,
art of
the
heart.
Thank you, Freeman, and that's exactly right. I often say, folks, the only metric of success of a book cannot be number of copies sold. The primary measure for me is how many lives did you touch? How many people's lives did you make a difference?
And how many amazing people do you get to work with? Look, my first book, I went through the whole process, and the experience has so many levels and layers beyond the dollars made and the books sold. There's a way of doing this. Again, I'm hearkening back to the earlier segments, that's graceful and that's generous and that's rewarding, because we hear so many horror stories, right? We hear so many people saying about how about just the horror stories. I mean, I don't even want to go into them because they're so, but we've all heard them about people.
How sometimes they fall short or miss the mark, and much of the time, that didn't have to be that way.
Required.
It's not
Exactly.
required. Some great mentorship is available. This program is a tremendous opportunity for those of our listeners who are considering publishing or self-publishing. We urge you to follow up on this.
Yeah.
Yes, and our event arm is Insight Events USA. So that's Insight, INSIGHT, events, EVENTS, USA.com. So if you go to InsightEventsUSA.com, you can take a look at the workshop description. We've got details and videos and all the stuff we'll be doing. And if you can't make it this time, join our mailing list and come and see us, at one of our future events. But I can't, really echo what you said enough, and that this is really about passion and life-changing. And to me, if you talk to the best-selling authors, what we all say is the books that we write teach us the most about us.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That's beautiful.
That's fantastic. It's. I'll say one little piece, and I'm repeating myself. Barnett's heard this a lot of times, but as an actor, there was always this process with the character of finding the character as I was going along, but also finding myself in the process of playing the character, because there are parts of me that got illuminated in a way that couldn't have happened had I not gone on the journey. And that's true of my acting, but it's also true of the book I wrote. My first book, this was so much about finding myself in the process of this thing that almost had a life of its own.
Yes. Amen. Amen, brothers.
All right, so listen, Randy, we're so grateful that you took the time to join us today. We are thrilled to be able to spread this with folks. If you're listening and want more information, you can go to those various websites. You can also go to Cutting Edge Consciousness, and all of this information will be available there as well. Thanks, Randy.
Hey, thanks, guys. Keep up the great work. I mean, we're hearing about you all over. I was just in BEA, and we were hearing about you up there last week. So keep on what you're doing. We're so happy that you're helping change the world. So we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Be
Randy.
well.
So listen, Barnett, I'm excited that the pieces, the putting the pieces together, where, we start with this kind of call, and it may be of the hero's journey paradigm, but the beautiful part and the terrifying part is the open-ended piece, where my sense is, and this is my experience as well, of giving myself to something in a very, honest way, a heartfelt way, and allowing it to take me.
And to see how it all comes together.
Because that's it. It's a crazy ride.
It requires that we commit.
Yes.
You stake out an intention. It's an intention of the heart. Doesn't even have to be an intention of the head at some point, but it's an intention of the heart. And you commit. The trickiest part of any process is to commit. Well, in the hero's journey, once you hear the call, you meet the resistances, eventually you deal with the resistances, you respond, and then you commit.
And you commit to the journey. Because again, this is the big tripcord, is the tendency to want to commit to the outcome. And you really can't do that. There's a quality perhaps in the outcome.
It's a compass.
If we can tease out the quality.
It's a compass that you don't get too overly attached to.
That's it.
You don't get attached to the compass.
That's it.
It's a guide.
It's a guide. And it has valuable information. So the quality that we assign to an outcome is fantastic, but this quality itself that will be fulfilling, and then any outcome is possible. And with that,
I think we're
at
the outcome. We've arrived at the outcome. So great to see you again this week. I will see you next week in these very same chairs.
You will. And for all of you listening, we are so grateful that you took the time to be with us today. We hope that if you enjoy the show, you share it with friends. And we invite you, of course, to keep coming back to Cutting Edge Consciousness. Thanks for listening.